Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Sonic Frontiers playthrough. I love this field of flowers. It would be, a lot prettier if it weren't overshadowed by the massive pop-in of the airborne obstacle courses, but, I like the look of it.
Your tone was it'd be a shame if something happened to it.
Well, not inaccurate, but one of the things that I saw people talking about a lot in the fucking comments for YouTube videos leading up to this was the idea that the game looked like it was made of stock Unity assets. And I'm like, bitch, please, what do you think grass looks like?
Not everyone can have their own unique blend of grass.
Well, I mean, they're obviously going...
There's some nice quality Sonic Frontiers grass we got going here.
They're obviously going for a more realistic environmental design on the look of the world, and that's fine. I don't necessarily think Sonic is ill-fitting of that. But, come on, guys. Unity Unity assets? Really? Okay, sure. I mean, you wouldn't even be able to tell the difference between Unity grass and, in-house original graphics grass, because it would look basically the same anyway. But
grass is grass.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, y'all are just reaching for complaints, but this, to be fair, this was during the pre-IGN Sonic Frontiers first reveal footage era, where everything looked kind of lame because it was just poorly presented. But what I was trying to get at, what I was trying to make my way to, was that I actually really like the aesthetic of Islands 1 and 5. I do. I love the quiet feeling of nature that the first Island theme carries with it. And I think Island 5 does a better job of it because it has a more, diverse set of environments built into it. Is this an original? This seems like it might be an original.
It's hard for me to tell with the chemical plant
I cannot tell from immediately. I want to say it is.
It feels original.
Yeah.
It feels like I don't remember any of these level layouts from any other game.
If nothing immediately comes to mind, then I would say it's a safe assumption it's original, because I don't remember geometry like that in any boost level off the top of my head.
I'm thinking to myself, it looks like a weird mix of Sonic Adventure level design and Boost era level design, and it's too interesting to be Sonic Forces. And then I see this bit and I'm like, yeah, this is original. Wow.
I mean, if the game had a little more time to stew in certain areas, I would have liked if there was a little more originality like that in any Cyberspace level.
I mean, it does help distract from how much slower the boost is when you're doing all that platforming throughout the level. Well.
Look at all these vault keys I don't need.
This game has the same quality to it that Pokemon Violet and Scarlet do, in that, wow, this game makes me excited for the next game, but boy, is it rough. Thankfully, this doesn't have that quality quite as strongly as Pokemon does, but I can't help but think about how the ideas in this game will be, fleshed out in the next one. Don't burn me again, Sonic Team, please.
What they say as they pull up their flamethrower.
Oh, you mean literally?
Man, At maximum speed, you really feel it when you jump out of a boost and instantly slow down. Oh no. It's these...
Oh yeah, this thing. These things that are, again, not a problem because you can just hold the fairy down.
Yeah. You see, the thing about that... I actually tried to, like, stomp these things to death at some point.
Yeah.
And for some reason, it didn't work. I don't know if I did that on camera or not. I might have.
Well, we got plenty of time to find out on this part if we don't make any significant, like, story progression.
The thing is, I know that I didn't think that I didn't even realize that the triple boost did damage. The triple stomp, rather, did damage until you mentioned it in your review and showed it off. So I'm like, oh, okay. So then I tried it the next time I played it, and it didn't work for some reason. Like, maybe there was just some odd hitbox shenanigans going on. Or I don't know, maybe it was Thursday.
I don't know what that means. Everybody knows that all my worst luck is on Thursdays. It's in the fucking autobiography.
Well, I don't know if there's another meaning to it, but I heard it first from Harley Quinn. Batman and Harley Quinn, the movie specifically. Batman goes on this rant about how unreliable Harley is because she's so prone to, you know, stabbing people in the back. Is this Metal Harbor? No, this isn't Metal Harbor. It is Metal Harbor. This is Metal Harbor. Holy hell, it's Metal Harbor.
I thought we ran into Metal Harbor already
I think
earlier.
this is
in the,
part
I
of
think we
Metal
did,
Harbor.
but this is a different part
Yeah.
of the harbor.
Yeah. Or, no, not... Maybe Metal Harbor is the wrong level to think of.
No, this is definitely Metal Harbor. I remember that
Okay, yeah.
segment.
Neat. Too bad Ted isn't here for this one.
Yeah, he went to go get the milk and never came back.
Unfortunately, our schedules don't always line up.
Yeah. To go, like, I know we're fucking way late in, like, getting into this, but while you're already here, our schedule's considerably more lax than before is because for just that reason, our schedules are way harder to coincide with now than it used to be, like, 5-10 years ago. So we do what we can, but at the same time, we don't overdo it so that we don't have considerable gaps in our schedule anymore. And we don't want to fucking burn ourselves out. And, you know, unfortunately, it's just a thing that happens, folks. We get older. Got other things to do.
We're going to hit 15 years next year.
What?
Yeah.
Nah, you're fucking lying.
Nope, May 2024 is our 15th year.
Oh! What the fuck? What happened?
One of the things
Time.
What the heck? Why did I just stop? Anyway.
Because you're processing 15 years.
Anyway, one thing I will say for this version of Metal Harbor is that it's a lot less of a headache to get up to the, you know, second level of the...
Why do you keep stopping like that?
I think I keep hitting the counter button to brake. But one thing they nailed is how hard it is to control this sequence. So, of course, they put a red star ring there. Bastards. You have no idea how many times I had to retry that. Just to get that last goddamn red star ring.
You know, some things never change.
Well, at least it was only a 1-up or something on that goddamn ramp. So you only really had to care about it if you were trying to go for a perfect ring completion S rank or something. A rank. Sorry. S ranks weren't in Sonic Adventure 2. Global illumination at work. They never did completely nail that, did they? Like, one of the big selling points of the Hedgehog engine was the global illumination. But the first game ran like dick on its original hardware. And then the second game, like, really dialed back the global illumination, so that didn't happen.
Yeah, so let's make this game not fucking kill the console. All right, fine.
But the result of that is, like, the Hedgehog engine lost what made it look actually kind of good, you know?
Kind of good. That game still looks fucking fantastic even today.
Generations?
No, I would say Unleashed.
Well, yeah, Unleashed. But I was talking about Generations when I said they dialed back.
Yeah, no, I'm referring to Unleashed. You know, it's like they make this incredible looking game. It ran like shit, but it looked really good.
Yeah, and then they made Generations, and one of the reasons that runs better is because they dialed back the global illumination.
But it's funny because you can re-enable all that shit again in modding.
Yeah. But, like, as a result, Sonic Generations didn't look halfway as interesting. So... Also, Sonic looked like he was wearing brown lipstick for some reason. Never understood that.
I don't remember that.
Like, for some reason, they really emphasized his lips. Like, I guess they just...
I'll have to go back to that because I don't remember that at all.
Hooray for Mori Kuruga.
No, look, in Sonic Unleashed, Sonic's, like, face model was able to completely rely on the shading to let you know where his mouth was, right? But then in Sonic Generations, they darkened his lips for some reason to make them stick out. And I don't think it was even strictly necessary inside the game's lighting, but I guess they were just not confident in the game's dialed back shading engine. So...
Or at least the settings they had it on, because again, you can mod that shit back in.
But like Sonic's Generations model has these absurdly overemphasized lip shadows.
Pucker up.
And only on modern Sonic too. I don't get it. It doesn't look good at all. I don't know if they kept doing that in Sonic Forces or not, but they don't do it here, and thank Christ for that.
From what I understand, and I might be wrong on this one, it's after Unleashed, every game afterwards was just sort of like visually a downgrade from Unleashed in some attempt in optimizing it so that it won't run nearly as bad as Unleashed did.
Yeah, but that doesn't...
Which I don't think is as much as a problem in, like, if you're, like, playing the PC version, if you have the specs to run it. But, like, just to make sure it ran equally on all fronts, like on all consoles, even PS4, Xbox One, Switch, that sort of thing.
But that doesn't excuse the ugly ass lips.
Well, I don't remember exactly what you're talking about, so I have to go back and see what you're talking about.
Well, I mean, let me see if I can just find a screenshot. Sonic and Tails and Sonic and Sage are talking about the disappearing, reappearing bridge. It's okay, I can miss this. Let's see. Sonic Generations screenshot. Okay, so this was a mistake. This was a bad mistake. Google never frickin' gives you what you searched for, does it? It's all just key art. Come on.
Get the Chaos Emerald.
Here's a good one. Okay. Now.
And this is like a genuine image, right? It's not you like photoshopping like brown lips over Sonic's mouth.
No, I'm looking.
Just to exacerbate a point.
I'm looking for a genuine image.
Okay.
Okay. It's just, you know, strangely hard to find.
Maybe the problem is you.
No, I mean, like, so few of these images are actual screenshots of the game.
I think it might come to a point where you just gotta have to boot the game up yourself.
I found one. We have found one.
Yeah.
I'm assuming you're gonna put it on the video itself so that you're not leaving the audience hung to dry.
I mean, y'all can do your own Googling.
No, or you can or you can keep the viewer engaged with the video and put it on the fucking screen now. Oh, look at it. It's hideous.
Anyway, this is a little further away from Sonic's face than I was looking for, but if you look closely, you can see it. Wait, hang on. What? Why didn't it copy my... Why didn't it copy the image? Copy...
What about the Pokemon prioritizing instant gratification for shareholders?
No, that was a copy of a tweet I was making earlier. I don't even remember, like... You know,
I was so confused. Like, are you high?
Okay, hang on. Okay, pictures. There we go. Sonic. I had to download the image because for some reason it wasn't doing the clipboard thing correctly. Anyway, there's the picture. Okay, good.
Yeah, I can sort of see it.
It's got he like they put this emphasis on his mouth so that you couldn't possibly miss it for some reason.
I think, yeah, what it was is that they decided to bake in shadows around his lips to emphasize the mouth, as you said, instead of relying on the lighting engine.
That would be fine if it was just his gameplay model they did it for. But they did it on his cutscene model too when you're way close up to his face and it looks weird.
Like he just finished eating a chocolate cake.
Yeah. And it's like, why did
or eating shit, because hedgehogs eat their own shit. So.
Oh, is this one of those like animals digesting things multiple times things?
No, it's more hedgehogs eat their own shit.
Well, yeah, that would be, digesting things multiple times.
Well, that chili dog tastes so good.
I think
I'll have it a second time.
I'm not surprised by animals eating their own feces. That's a thing that happens in nature a lot.
Yeah.
It's the entire reason there were compies on Jurassic Park. They needed dinosaurs to eat the giant mounds of dino poo left by the giant fucking herbivores. Because none of the naturally occurring wildlife would... none of the naturally occurring insects would actually, decompose the goddamn things.
Oh, yeah, because they are standards. I ain't touching that shit.
Like, nothing in nature today, according to the book anyway, would decompose the dino poo. So they needed to breed a specific species of dinosaur all over the island just to decompose the dino poo. Fittingly, that's the dinosaur that kills Hammond in the end. Because he's a piece of shit. You get it?
Oh, okay.
Anyway.
Oh, you just missed it. Sunrise, bitch.
Yeah, I was like halfway through the challenge and then that happened.
It was great.
It's a pain in the ass.
I love when I have to wait for an arbitrary time just to do a challenge.
It's a pain in the ass, too, because there's no way to quickly, like, change from day to night to do the nighttime challenges.
No. Unfortunately. I'm hoping that gets rectified with the DLC update. I don't see any sort of potential harm in the game's gameplay loop introducing it.
Oh, yeah. I mean...
Like, maybe at most you'll miss a blood moon, but... I don't think that's really a big deal.
I think the reason that they didn't do it is because they didn't know how to include a time skip without breaking the blood moon system.
I think it would add a layer of strategy. No, not strategy. Like using that word very loosely here.
Well, the problem is that you can use the blood moons to grind fishing tokens.
Right.
Like in Breath of the Wild, it doesn't quite matter that you can speed up the blood moons by just resting at a campfire for a series of nights. Because nothing to your advantage happens on the blood moons except for like certain weapons in the environment respawning. Like there's a I'll give you this one for free. Okay? There's a big ass royal greatsword, one of the best two-handers in the game, on top of the map tower with the skull on it to the north of Hyrule Castle. Once you get that tower, you can warp back there every blood moon and get a free royal greatsword. It's wonderful because they're not only badass weapons, they're also one of the more durable weapons in the game. So they last a while once you get them, right? That kind of thing is like the only sort of advantage you can take of the blood moons in Breath of the Wild, but like you have to like know the game to know that you can do that. Whereas here, it's...
I think if you were at risk of losing a blood moon in this game just by moving forward through time, I don't think anybody would really care.
Well, it would be one thing if you were, losing a blood moon, but what I think they were worried about is speeding up the blood moons and making them happen more frequently.
I guess so. But at that point, I think just have a separate counter for that, knowing that like if time is skipped forward, do not increase the blood moon count. Like leave it static. Like like a hidden counter only goes up if time naturally passes, and if you don't use the fast forward feature.
That is a possible like compromise. What the hell is happening with this?
Why is it not working? Are you dead, Sonic?
No, he's trapped in cyberspace.
Something broke the collision there.
Oh.
So I think all we have left to do is just grind memory tokens and fill in the last of the map.
Yeah, we're getting pretty close.
Never mind, we have one.
Yeah, there's a few cyberspace levels to go. I mean, there are 9 of them on this island, so... No, past me, you missed a Coco. Wait.
You don't need them.
The thing is that I'm seeing a lot of Cocos that I missed while playing this footage. And it's like, if I had seen them while I was playing, I would have slowed down and grabbed them, But I'm moving a little too fast to notice that while I'm playing. But since I'm not playing, I'm just watching my own footage, my eyes are darting to the periphery a lot more often. So I see things that I missed. Cyberspace, go! Oh god, for some reason I just thought of the Quest Zone. Was it called the Quest Zone?
The Quest
You
Zone?
remember
Johnny
Quest, yeah.
The 90s one?
The horrible
So long
CGI
ago.
90s one, yeah.
That aired on Toonami.
The Quest Zone? That sounds like something Johnny Quest would say when he's trying to get a fucking date.
So, to give themselves an excuse to do horrible 90s era CGI because people thought 3D was so cool at the time, they created this virtual reality thing called the Quest Zone, and some of the stories were, based inside it. To be fair, it was an okay narrative concept. I remember liking the story concept anyway. To be utterly unfair, the CGI graphics they use in that Johnny Quest show are abysmal. They're just so bad.
Even by at the time reboot standards, they were bad.
Yeah.
Damn, worse than Reboot.
Way worse than Reboot. What was the title of that show? The Real Adventures of Johnny Quest?
I think it was The Real Adventures of Johnny Quest,
Something
yeah.
like that, yeah.
The actual Adventures of Johnny Quest.
As if you actually lived.
The only
Yeah.
good CGI in the entire frame are the wireframe hillsides in the fucking intro. But I was too stupid to care back then. I just thought 3D cool. 3D neat. Want to see 3D. It was a different time.
Oh, there's no H in Johnny. Okay.
Oh, yeah. I keep forgetting that.
Interesting. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's just Jony. Maybe that's why people keep spelling my name that way, too. Because they watched Johnny Quest growing up.
Johnny Quest, or at least this particular version of it, was kind of just a checklist of tropes. There's the usual young boy hero. There's the mentor figure. There was the redheaded girl character sidekick that every show had around that time. And then there was the unnecessary CGI.
Guest starring.
What was the name of the old wheelchair guy who basically lived in VR?
In Johnny Quest? You're asking the wrong
Yeah,
person.
I don't
watch
remember.
the show.
The only old guy, wheelchair-bound guy in that kind of show I remember is the chief from Doom Patrol.
Oh, well, the story about the Quest Zone stuff involved this guy who was in this wheelchair, who was old and decrepit, and had to speak through like an audio device. And I remember, like, why is this guy a villain? He just wants to use the VR to feel powerful again. Ain't that what VR is for, man? You know?
There was Jeremiah Surd.
I think so.
There was Julia. There was Lorenzo. Ezekiel Rage. What the fuck?
Ezekiel Rage, I get the feeling he's one of the classic Johnny Quest guys. From, like, the older shows.
Dr. Zinn. Anaya Zinn. Milena Zinn. A lot of Zins.
Huh.
General Vostok? No.
Well, Johnny Quest is
What's
one
Mark
of those
Hamill, really?
cheesy shows that has, like, G.I. Joe quality villains.
Yeah, I think it might be Dr. Jeremiah Surd you're thinking.
Yeah, that's probably him. I don't remember what was supposed to make him a bad guy, though. It's so weird. Because, like, he's just this disabled guy who wants to use the VR for his own. And it's like, you know, I'll let him have his own VR server or something. You know? This doesn't have to be such a big deal. And it's actually kind of funny because that's like one of the story elements that fucking Sword Art Online actually did correctly, like 20 years later, with the Mother's Rosario storyline, where, you know,
like the one part of the franchise that's universally praised.
Yeah. Also, it's funny because in the chronology of the actual writing of the series, that was also actually the first good Asuna story. But a lot of the early stuff in the anime was written after that. But like, the point I was trying to make is that it was an interesting concept. In the Mother's Rosario story, it was a girl who was bound to a hospital bed because she was like in the really late stages of AIDS and really suffering from the treatment and all of that. But she could escape to a virtual reality world and be this super powerful hero. And that was why she was, like, technically better at fighting than Kirito, because she was always in the virtual world, so there was no reason to stop practicing. But, like, the Johnny Quest character was just like, okay, this is a weird mix of traits. I'm not sure how I should feel about this guy. I never watched the show religiously enough to know if they ever went anywhere with it, though. If they went with it somewhere, please tell me in the comments. I mean, I might not even see the comment, but there is a chance. I'd like to know if they went...
How forth, like, what the fuck is mentioning Johnny Quest in 2023?
Well, I mean, we're going into cyberspace. It's somewhat relevant. So, okay, more cyberspace levels. I think this might be one of the last ones. I get the feeling I'm going to wrap up the island in the next part and then proceed to the final boss.
In the last part?
Yep. Wow, this is a level. Wait.
I think this is Seaside Hill.
This is Unleashed.
Is it Unleashed?
Yes.
Okay. Because like the way the level began with the camera zoomed in on Sonic, and like the emphasis on like 3 different sort of pathways, you know, representing formations, I immediately thought of it as heroes.
Well, this is one of the extra Unleashed levels, I think, because I remember a level in Unleashed somewhat like this where the challenge was every so often you would be launched and there would be 3 different pathways. I did that on purpose because I missed a red ring. But, like...
Yeah, now you gotta get this one again.
There would be 3 different pathways, and then you would have to, like, sort of pick the one that has the metal or something on it. And it was a pain in the ass because your control wasn't as good. Man, that flippy flip animation he does when he gets launched out of like a launch ring or something is a lot rougher than it used to be, isn't it?
I mean, if you stop and smell the roses.
What?
No, just saying, like, I think there are quirks and little animations that are easier to notice if you're actively looking for it. I think in the moment you wouldn't never notice that sort of thing.
Yeah, but on the other hand, the animation quality did dip substantially in Sonic Forces. And it feels like they haven't really, fully recovered from that. At least his quills move when he runs. That was a thing Sonic Forces didn't do for some reason.
Like, I fully recovered from it. Like, it was
Look,
a little bit
okay, the poster child for the problems with Sonic Forces animations was the animation that happens when you're in a team level with the Avatar and Sonic working together, and they do the sort of grapple grind.
The grapple drift?
Yeah. And they become a fucking statue.
Yes, they do.
It's like, okay, this is a placeholder. This is clearly a placeholder. But here, what I was talking about was like when you launch out of you'll launch off of a ramp or out of a ring or something, and Sonic will do this sort of twirling animation, but then he'll just abruptly stop.
I see. I was never bothered by that. I always just took that as like the beginning of a launch animation, not necessarily. I don't mind that he doesn't stay in that twirl until he lands.
There's no natural transition from him twirling to him being steady in the air.
Oh, so you don't like how it just stops on a dime.
It just abruptly snaps from one animation to another.
Yeah.
And we're in the 2020s. Jak and Daxter mastered this shit decades ago. There's no excuse.
Got 7 vault keys you no longer need.
Yep. And that means, are we ready to move on, or are there more useless vault keys for me to collect?
Find out next
time. There
time.
are 2 other parts after this.
Well, I might have reserved an entire part for the final boss. I'm not sure.